defend the triangle. And there really are going to be like multiple points that you're going to defend in different ways. It's obviously different gi or no gi, but it's also important to understand like how the triangle is applied, so that as you're defending it, you can understand what layer you're in and sort of defend and work backwards from there. You know, it's sort of like on the cooking shows when they have like they cook a dish or whatever, but then like they have to make something crazy, and they'll just put a plate of ingredients, and it'll be like a deconstructed burrito or something like that. You know, you'll have like each ingredient inside. So it's sort of like that. If you understand where you are in the layer of food, you can understand like what to address it. And if you're too far down and you try to like pull out and escape, you know, if you're at like the cheese level and you try to pull out like a lettuce move, it's just not going to work. So it's good to understand like what part of the progression you're in, and also like the mechanics of what makes a triangle work. So I'm just going to go over that quickly, and then I'll show you like my basic, and we're just going to start today with the fundamentals of like the defense that I use the most. But there's going to be defenses that you can certainly use before you get to this position and after. But it's just like kind of where I find myself most common when I'm throwing here, right? So first of all, when you're applying a triangle, you obviously want to isolate one arm in, one arm out. I also want to usually trap a hip, his hip with my foot, and I'm going to bring my hips up to meet him. You know, I don't just throw it on lazily. So I push the arm down, I bring my hips up. As my hips come up, my leg grabs, and I'm going to like hook. I'm going to use like my calf like a hammer on the back of his head and hook down here. As I do that, I'm changing the angle of my body to be in a straight line with him, to being perpendicular with him, and my hips are going from being in a straight line to outside of his hips. So all at once, you bring your hips up. A lot of times with this hand, I'll use to assist either under the arm or under the leg, and I'll pull myself over to the side, break his posture down over here. It's best, obviously, if I can trap outside of his arm or outside of his shoulder here, and just get the triangle in right here. And this is pretty much like a fully locked in triangle. I have his arm already pulled across his body, deep on my shin, not down on my foot. I have a little trouble bending my knee just because I have an injury to my knee, but you flex your toes up, your heels down. I like to bring my heel down and like out like a J at the end here. So toes up, heels down. Controlling the head with both hands is ideal. Hips up, pull him down, flex, hip up, pull down. You can keep this to keep him broken down if you want. And that's your basic, the basic applications for a triangle, the basic mechanics of it. If you stop any one of those things, the person can compensate with other things, right? Like if I'm not able to get his arm across here, as long as I have his posture broken down, I can still complete the move. If I'm not able to trap his shoulder outside of the lock, but I have it inside, as long as I have his posture broken down and I'm pinching with this leg, I can change the angle of my squeeze, and I don't even necessarily need to squeeze my feet. I can still finish the move. So there's ways that you can compensate when you're beating one thing and still finish the move. So he needs to be aware of all of those as he's defending it. Also, one of the main things that I'm doing is, even though I have this here, I'm still sliding my hips out of line with his body. So it starts to become a little bit more complicated if he blocks two things, right? Or one of the main things. And one of the main things is the hip. So if I start to get this across there, if I can turn my hips out, he's going to start to be in trouble. And I've already kind of beaten him here. Okay, so all those things are things to keep in mind as you're deconstructing.